we have the limit of x plus delta x quantity squared minus x squared over delta x as delta x approaches 0, and I'm claiming this limit is equal to 2x. So we do the direct substitution, plugging 0 directly in for delta x, simplifying, and we get 0 over 0. Well, now what we probably need to do is go back up here, take a look at this. I would suggest that we try simplifying this down as much as we can. And because this is squared, we can write this as x plus delta x times x plus delta x, because there are two of them. Now we want to FOIL this out, and then collect like terms in the numerator, and simplify. So x times x is x squared, and then we have delta x times x, and then x times delta x, and then delta x times delta x, which gives us a delta x squared. Now this is not x squared, but it's really delta x, right? Quantity squared. Minus x squared, and that comes from right here. Now we want to, looks like, cancel some stuff out. We've got an x squared and a minus x squared, so they're going to cancel out. We have some like terms here. We've got a delta xx and an x delta x, and that gives us two x delta x's, plus, and then we've got the delta x squared. But what we can do now is because we have a delta x here in this term and two delta x's here, we can actually cancel a delta x out. So because we have a delta x in the denominator, we can cancel one delta x out here, which just gives us 2x, and then we can cancel a delta x out, and that leaves us with one delta x. Now we can do the direct substitution, plugging 0 in for delta x. So this becomes 2x plus 0, which simplifies down to 2x. We have the limit of 4 minus the square root of x over x minus 16. We want to do the direct substitution first, plugging 16 directly in for where there's an x, and then simplifying. Well, 4 minus the square root of 16 is 0, because the square root of 16 is 4, and therefore 4 minus 4 is 0. And then we get 0 in the denominator. So that means that we need to try to transform this. Well, we can't really simplify it down, and we can't do any factoring up here in the numerator or the denominator. But what we can do is we can multiply through by what's called the conjugate. So as you can see here, I have a 4 minus the square root of x. Therefore, I'm going to put a 4 plus the square root of x right to the side of it. And what I do up here in the numerator, I must also do in the denominator. Now we want to multiply what we have up here in the numerator. So I have 4 times 4 is 16, negative square root of x times 4, 4 times the square root of x. Well, over here, it doesn't really matter what order you do this in, as long as you do all the possibilities. And then the negative square root of x times positive square root of x, and that gives us negative x. Well, what we're going to do now is just simplify it down, so we got some stuff canceling out, and we're left with 16 minus x. Now, I have a 16 minus x in the numerator, and I have an x minus 16 in the denominator. I'm going to go ahead and factor a negative out of the numerator. Think about multiplying this negative across inside, and you just end up with 16 minus x. But now we can cancel some stuff out. This x minus 16, which we have in the denominator, we can cancel those out. So as you can see here, now I plug the 16 in, and we get negative 1 over 8.